Make trash, do smash. How could you resist a type line like that? Even if it isn't super accurate to how the deck ends up playing, I was personally kind of keen for Gruul graveyard shenanigans, a Gruul aggro deck in such a cute theme was always going to be fun. And while I, as an Australian, am not personally familiar with raccoons, I have become very familiar with this deck and I've had a lot of fun upgrading it. 10 cards is always the sweet spot for upgrading a precon. Anything more and you're getting into Deck of Theseus arguments, but I'll be giving you a little bit more than 10 today. We've got 10 budget upgrades of all cards that cost less than $5, and then a few more that do some amazing work but might be a little bit pricier. You can make up your own mind about what fits for you, what direction you want to take it in. All the card lists are down below for you to check out, what I've cut, what I've added, and then my final deck list, all in the description below. This has been my favorite deck from Bloomburrow thanks to Bello's fun little value engine. Play the best enchantments and artifacts available in red and green, but still have creatures to beat face with. It does Gruul things very well. Ramp into the 4-5 mana range and start smashing face while being safer to removal thanks to our main value pieces being indestructible on our turn and not creatures on everyone else's. I've swung back hard from a few board wipes with this bad boy. Because there's a decent land and ramp package already in this deck, most of my upgrades have been on the value and win con side. One thing you might notice is that all of the enchantments I have added are 4 mana. It is the sweet spot for this deck in my opinion. You ramp on turn 2, 4 cost turn 3, commander turn 4, and start swinging faces. If you're going to swing, you might as well make sure you're going to hit. Bedlam will stop all creatures from being able to block, which will leave us open, but if we're playing Gruul, hopefully we're hitting harder than everyone else and we'll still win. Grand Melee is going to do some similar work, force people to not sit back and pillow fort, make bad attacks, make some creatures disappear from bad blocks, but overall this will favour us because we have indestructible creatures. And if we're going to be getting those sweet card draw triggers, then we might as well make sure it works out for us. Abundance is going to turn our card draw engine into ramp by letting us name land to make sure we hit those early land drops, and once we've got them, we can just name non-land and make sure we get something of value. Gimli's Reckless Might is going to give any of our creatures haste, but it's also going to act as a little bit of extra removal. As long as we're swinging with 2 upgraded elementals, we get to fight with a 4/4 indestructible, which will usually mean we win, and let us bolt a bird that for some reason has been given 4 toughness. The ban list came out yesterday, I was very happy. And finally, the Flux. I wish more sagas could have fit, they would have been a whole lot of fun, but they just disappear too quickly. And while the Flux was a short-lived, badly written storyline, it is going to hang around for 5 turns and do some great work for us. Turn 1, it's a removal spell. Turns 2 through 5, it gives us that sweet red use it or lose it card advantage. And then finally, turn 6, we get 6 red mana to hopefully pull off a game-winning play. Staying on theme of Doctor Who, the Cybership is the first vehicle I get to bring up. I personally love the idea of upgrading Bello as a vehicles-only deck, like a little raccoon Magneto controlling vehicles from afar without ever having to crew them. While Cybership is mostly going to be a 4/4, not an 8/8, it should still fly over and give us some 2/2 Cyberboys to block with. And if our commander gets removed, then we just crew it as an 8/8 flyer. Untethered Express is a 4/4 trampler that's just going to keep getting bigger, and it has a very easy crew cost if we do need to find a conductor. Gruul Warplower will give all of our creatures trample and help round out games, and once again it has a way to be useful without our commander. Protection isn't really in the budget for this, so making sure we can use our creatures without Bello in the field is a high priority. Skitterbeam Battalion might be my favourite card to add in here. Turns out that Prototype isn't just an alternate casting cost, but also an alternate mana value. 5 mana for 3 2/2s with trample and haste isn't great, but the copies will still have the 5 mana value, and Bello will quickly turn this into 12 trampling damage. And then Hexibus, 6 mana 0/0 with flying. Really, it's a 10/10 with flying that can slowly degrade itself to give us a flying win con with a few of our other value pieces. This bad boy can do so much work on its own or as part of a team, and it's a great way to round out the game. But if you're willing to bling out the trash just a little bit more, there's a few cards here that can do even more work. Nautiloid Ship is one of my favourite vehicles. Graveyard hate into free creatures on the back of a flying 4/4. This can very easily swing the battlefield back into your favour. And once it has, Thunderhawk Gunship can help us end out a game. Flying for easier hits, creating 2/2s with Vigilance for protection, and then giving everything else flying to help us end things out. I would definitely swap this for Hexibus if you can find a copy. Case of the Locked Hothouse is my single favourite card from Markov Manor. Not just because it won me a few drafts with ramp and easy spells, but because it has the 12 sweetest words in all of Magic. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. There are many cards like it, but this one's going to help us ramp, and then once we've hit 7 lands, it's going to let us play lands, cast creatures, and most importantly, enchantments from the top of our library. Furnace of Wrath and City on Fire are gonna help end out games, each hitting for 8 and 12 damage respectively. There are a few other cards with this kind of effect if you want redundancy, but I personally love these two. Guardian Project is a great card draw engine for Commander, and it even sees itself enter if we already have Bello on the field. And speaking of seeing things enter, Molten Echoes is my #1 pick for upgrading this deck. It's a little expensive, but hear me out. You name Elemental, and then any 4 mana and above enchantment or artifact entering the battlefield will double in value. Double City on Fire, double Abundance, double Rolling Hamsphere. This hot piece of sound will win you games. So that's my list of upgrades for Animated Army. It's a great deck to start out with and an awesome way to learn interactions between enchantments, creatures, and beating faces. All the card lists, the final deck list, everything is down below for you to check out. And if you've liked this video, make sure you check out some of our other deck techs upgrade videos and our Commander gameplay streams. My name is Tom from Nerds of the West. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.